Hi, I'm Hillary Thompson again. I'm from Cutting Edge Plants and I'm a member of the American Hydrangea Society. This is the third and final video in a series of 3. We're answering questions that were emailed in. We're answering via video and written word because we can't gather together for our April meeting. This video is on pruning. There are 3 pruning questions that arrived. The first one is ideas for pruning limelight hydrangea so it won't flop so bad. Yes, indeed, they flop. Those are very big, hardy, hefty flowers, and they can pull the stem right over. So I go for structural pruning, and you think of a scaffold. That's what you're building when you prune. Think years down the road when you're pruning. This is a 2-year-old plant that we grow. Trying to make sure you can see the scaffolding. It had a couple of main shoots, and we prune it, and it breaks in 2. We take those 2, we prune it, and it breaks in 2 again. So you get the idea if you keep 1, it forms 2. So you can see what a nice, dense structure we've got. Here's a hydrangea. So just to back up, limelight is a paniculata type of hydrangea. They're like full sun, they're very rapid growers. And here's one that was propagated last summer, I believe, yes, and potted up. Actually, it was transplanted July 27th, so it was probably stuck as a cutting the year before that. So we here have 4 main stems. I hope you can see that. I'm going to think down the line. I'm going to take, you know what? I'm going to be even more drastic. Let's pretend we have 3 main stems and that this one doesn't have 2. So we have 3. Right here, you can see node. That's where the leaves come out. That also means that's where it's going to branch into 2. So I'm going to take this Y down here. I'm going to prune down to the first node above that Y. You can see a lot of plant just disappeared. I'm going to do the same right here, right above that node. And then there's a node a little bit further down. So that was drastic. Paniculatas respond really well to that. In fact, arborescens and macrophylla and serrata do as well. So they respond well to being pruned and shaped. This has 1 stem. I'm trying to get it to show you. I'm sorry. It has 1 stem now. It's going to break in 2. I'm going to let it grow, and probably in a couple months, I'm going to prune it back again so that 1 Y then becomes 2 more Ys, so that by probably the end of next summer, we're going to have another nice, dense shrub here. So the benefit of that is you've got an architecture that is stronger and stouter and supports those stems better. You're just working on that scaffolding, that structure. You probably have a limelight that sends out 4-foot long branches, and then at the end of that 4 feet, there's a big, giant, fat flower head that just weighs straight down. So that was the answer to the first question. My sheet of questions just blew away, so I'm going to pause this for 1 minute. I got it. The second question is there a pruning guide available for the different types of hydrangea? I'm so glad you asked. There is a pruning guide on our website on cuttingedgeplants.com. At the top, there's a tab. You'll see hydrangea, and there's an About Hydrangeas blog. There's several pruning articles. There's even a Venn diagram, an overlapping Venn diagram that helps you understand pruning of remontant types as well. But I will do a quick overview to let you know the little device I use to remember when to prune hydrangeas. So I think of it as 2 and 2. So you've got 2 that you can prune in the spring before they flower, and they will flower that year. That's Hydrangea arborescens and Hydrangea paniculata. So 2 for spring, Hydrangea arborescens and Hydrangea paniculata. And that's because they bloom on new wood. That's a hydrangea term for it blooms on the new growth of that year. So you've got the other 2. Those Hydrangea macrophylla, and I'm going to lump serrata in with them because frankly they do seem very similar, and Hydrangea quercifolia. Those 2, they flower on buds set the previous year on old wood. So the buds are set in the fall. If you were to prune them before they flower, there go your flowers. So 2 that you can prune before they flower, Hydrangea arborescens, Hydrangea paniculata. 2 that you can prune after they flower, Hydrangea macrophylla and serrata, Hydrangea quercifolia. I hope that's a quick little device that helps you. It works for me. You might have to do what I did and just go with route memorization until you kind of get a little rhythm down. But also check out our website. There's our plug. I couldn't resist. The third question is, when's the best time to get rid of those bare sticks on a macrophylla? It is April right now. It is a great time to prune off those bare sticks. And I'm going to take you to the hydrangea garden. We don't have a thing in bloom yet. They'll be blooming next month. So let's take a walk over there. The third hydrangea pruning question is, when's the best time to get rid of those bare sticks on a macrophylla? It's April in Georgia. Spring is gorgeous. Hydrangeas haven't started flowering quite yet. There are lots of bare sticks. It is a great time to prune away those bare sticks. And I'm in our hydrangea garden now. There's nothing to see but lush green foliage and bare sticks. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you a little bit about pruning them. Here we are looking at a big leaf hydrangea, Hydrangea macrophylla. See, it's gorgeous dark green, great new growth. You can even tell there's a flower bud coming. It's in the broccoli stage. So it's a great time to prune them because you can kind of see the whole look of the plant. You know for sure these sticks are dead. So you can just kind of tidy along the top, or you can reach down in there more, carefully pruning to not cut off your precious flowers. It really depends on your aesthetic preference, but it's a great time to tidy it up because you can clearly see what's alive and what's not. As you practice, you'll begin to get an eye for it, and you can do it earlier in the year. Start studying your hydrangeas and you'll see a different color in these brown ones. Sometimes they can exfoliate even more and you won't see any buds on them. Sometimes the buds can be small further up the stem. Sometimes they're a more dull matte color when they're dead, and they're more of a shiny color when they're alive. So to point out a few other details about pruning the new growth in winter or April. So I mentioned sometimes the buds can be smaller further up the stem, and that's these kind of little tufted things. They do have flowers, but you can see how they kind of just stick out a little bit differently. But that in the center of the plant, the lower growth, and you can feel a fat bulbous thing in there, and that's a flower bud. You can tell that all those big fat buds lower in the plant had the flower buds on them. Also, here's another feature, that an alive stem has a shinier, it's hard to get in focus, sorry, shinier brown look. And here's a dead stem, and it just has a more tan color to it in places. It just doesn't have that vibrancy. There, I'm trying to reach for that through the phone, a vibrant color. So some people, here's a flower bud from one of the stems sticking up. So some people like to tidy all this up. I am a maximist, so I keep every flower bud possible. But maybe you're pruning for yourself or a client and you'd rather have a nice dome. Choice is yours. That concludes the propagation. I'm sorry. That concludes the pruning video. Thank you.